Hi, it's Jason. Today I'll be reading Chapter 6 of Floki's Army, A Small Dog with a Big Tail. Chapter 6. Do Angels Exist? It had been quite a while since she'd been home. Her new life was going well, and she was happy. She was also at the age where she needed to be on her own and discover the person she was meant to be. Her parents understood that, but still wished they could see more of her. She had her own car now, and was able to make the drive from Knoxville after work on a Friday. She told her parents she was coming and would stay the whole weekend. They were delighted that she would stay so long, even though they knew that some of the time would be spent with friends. Her parents planned to have a nice home-cooked meal for her that night before she made other plans. They even invited Uncle Ned. Even though her father and Ned were at odds from time to time, they were still brothers. Plus, he gave their daughter her first job when she really needed one. The family dinner went much like most family dinners. Everyone brought the others up to date on what's happening in their life, or at least the parts they wanted everyone to know. Then they enjoyed good food and reminisced about the past. When dinner was done and all the dishes were finished, Ned said it was time for him to go. "Oh, and one last thing, young lady," he said. "You might want to come by and say goodbye to the little one that you used to call Little Fighter. I can tell you that that was a very appropriate name for him." "Wait, what are you talking about?" she responded. "You mean he's still with you and still alive? And why would I have to come and say goodbye to him?" "Yes, he has been with me all these years and been the best breeding male I've ever had. He just can't produce any more, so he has to be put down. If you want to come out tomorrow, I'll tell Brad to wait until you come by." She was almost speechless. "I'll be there tomorrow at 10 a.m., she said. "See you then," Ned said as he walked out the door. "Thanks for dinner." The next morning she was up very early. She had trouble sleeping with so many thoughts on her mind. She thought she had moved past all the memories from her Uncle Ned's farm. She learned a few things while she was away. Ned's business wasn't a farm, it was a puppy mill. She couldn't believe that he kept Little Fighter in a cage for all those years. She also learned that there was a difference between a commercial puppy breeder and a puppy mill. A puppy mill's main objective is to sell as many puppies as possible while spending the least amount of money to do so, no matter how cruelly the dogs were treated. Uncle Ned was running a puppy mill. She showed up at Uncle Ned's farm at 8:30 a.m. She knew creepy guy Brad could not be trusted. He disliked her, and it would give him great pleasure to upset her by killing Little Fighter before she even got to say goodbye. Ned saw her pull into the driveway and met her at the car. "You're early, but that's probably for the best. Brad won't be here for a half hour or so. I'd rather avoid any confrontations. You two are like oil and water." "Okay, let's go back and see him." Ned led her to the back, to the big barn, right to the same cage she had seen him in last. What she saw was nothing what she expected. "Is this him?" she asked. "Of course it is," said Ned. Her eyes were starting to well up with tears. What she saw was a matted ball of fur curled up in a ball, not moving. There was poop stuck to his underside. His eyes were open, but they didn't look like his eyes anymore. They just aimed straight forward. There was no fight in him at all. "What have you done to him?" she cried. "I'm taking him. Open his cage for me." "What are you planning to do with him?" asked Ned. "I don't know," she cried. "He has to at least have a chance." "A chance at what?" asked Ned. "Please, Uncle Ned, just let me take him." "You don't want him anymore." She reached into the cage and picked up his frail little body. His bones crunched as she lifted him out of the cage. He was not afraid of her. and he let out a little sigh, as if he remembered her kind touch. She could no longer hear what Uncle Ned was saying to her. She opened the passenger door to her car and put him on the floor. She then got in and drove away. She could not stop crying. She knew she couldn't keep him, but she had to give him a chance at happiness. She pulled off the road so she could Google animal shelter. She found one that was pretty close called Claiborne Animal Shelter. It claimed to be a low-kill shelter. She wasn't sure what that meant, but maybe he would have a better chance there. She called in advance to ask if she could bring a dog there to the shelter. They said yes and told her they would be open until 5 p.m. Still crying, she pulled into the parking lot of Claiborne Animal Shelter. She turned the car off and picked up his tiny body, holding him close to her. She could feel him accepting her kindness. He knew right away this was something special. He nuzzled into her the best that he could. He didn't have a lot of practice with this activity. She wasn't sure how long she had been holding him, most likely the better part of an hour. It was time to go in. As she entered the shelter, she was immediately greeted by a woman attending the front desk. There were already several other dogs being dropped off. As she put Little Fighter on the front desk, the woman asked straightforwardly, "What happened here?" Tears started to flow again. "He's not my dog, and I can't keep him, but can you help him?" "We'll try our best to help him," said the attendant. "He will have to be evaluated by our vet tech before we make any decisions about him. Maybe you can tell me what you know." "My uncle had him at his puppy mill. He used him as a breeder. I haven't seen him for 7 or 8 years, so he must be around 12 years old. I don't know what they did to him, but he looks terrible, and I think there's something wrong with his eyes. They were going to kill him today. If he just had a chance for some happiness." "Okay," said the attendant. "You will have to sign this release, and then you must go. He is ours after you sign the release. You won't kill him, will you?" "We will do what's best for him. You did the right thing, hon." End of chapter 6.